everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Cathryn Rogers. I am one of the hosts of this show, and unfortunately, my other two hosts cannot be here today. Lynda is unfortunately sick, and Trevor lost his power in the house. So, my wonderful guest is here, kind of as my co-host, I guess, sort of today. Sparky Harris. How are you doing, Sparky? And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you being on the show. I just want to say that first of all.
I'm so glad I got to be on the show. I've followed you guys forever. Yeah, everything's going great. Doing really good.
Good. I'm so glad. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So I've been wanting to have you on the show forever. And I'm like, okay, we got to have you on the show. We want to have you on the show. Let's get you on the show. And, so I'm so, like I said, I'm so grateful to be able to have you here today. And just from your comments and stuff, you're just so knowledgeable, and we always appreciate that. Like we love the comment section because not only do you meet amazing people through the comment section, but you learn so much, right? Like it's not just the three of us chatting or the three of us and a guest. We're learning something from other people as well. So saying that, I want to get into, I put in, I was reading your bio, and I put in, for our thumbnail here and for the show, I put former, law enforcement, but you've like, that's just like the tip of the iceberg.
I've been around the block a couple times. I'll put it that way.
Right? So, do you find, okay, just kind of tell us a little bit about that. Like, give us some of your experience, whatever you feel safe in sharing, obviously,
About what I've seen and what I've done, or my history of
in regards to just your background, I guess, in law enforcement, and we'll start there, and then kind of how you got into the paranormal.
So I got a paranormal really early on as a young kid because my grandfather, he was Native American, and so I was brought up in. I spent all the summers with him camping, and so he taught me a lot about being a woodsman, how to be in the woods. And then when we did hear things, because we did at times, we encountered things and we could hear him running around, and he'd be like, it's okay, they're supposed to be here. So he was the first one that actually let me know not everything is bad out there. Like, we're in the woods, you have to be on guard, not on guard, but you have to be aware of what's out there. But you shouldn't be scared of spirits. You shouldn't be scared of nature folk or cryptids or stuff like that. Is like they're watching you, but if you respect them and their land, which is their home, you'll be fine. So absolutely. That's kind of where I got my basis from. Was really my home life was very Christian from my mom, of course, and then as I was in high school, I started gravitating away from that a little bit. And of course, then when I got in the military and I came back, I kind of went a different path. So I was in Korea for 2 tours back to back in the Army. So I was stationed right on the DMZ. I was part of the M1A1 tank team. So I went through every tank that ever went into Korea at that time. And so we did all those. Service. I appreciate it, and I love doing it. But that I was in there for just over 2 years. My father, who was also law enforcement, got injured in a car accident, so he retired out. My mom was a meat cutter, and she fell in a cooler. So they both got injured at the same time. They lost their orchard, and so I was sent back home. And so when I got home, the first 3 years, I was basically making money to pay off my mom and dad's debt and to get them a place to stay. And I got in law enforcement right after that. I was in search and rescue from the age of around 10-ish because my father ran it. So I was already in search and rescue. I did that for 12 years. I was a volunteer fire department for 7 years. I left law enforcement after 15 years. I was also SRT, which is kind of like SWAT, trained. Then after my PD shut down, that's when I got out of that. And so you know, like what we're talking about, talking with people in the comment section, I find a lot of these people, like, I kind of like dive in certain areas of our field, and we have other people dive in other parts of the field. I love the communication and like throwing ideas back and forth, trying to figure out what's going on. It's cool. The community is so cool doing that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's, I mean, here's the thing. Let me ask you this. When you were in, like with the military, with like law enforcement, all of that, was the paranormal something that was still an interest for you?
Oh, definitely. I was really diving deep right when I got in law enforcement on what I believed in, and trying to get answers, and then being in law enforcement, having instances where you can't explain what's going on. You know, shadows in the
Right.
windows. I have one of my stories everybody like cringes at, as I actually pulled a firearm on a full-on apparition because I thought it was a guy, and my buddy came around the other corner, it vanished, and so I ended up pointing my firearm at my backup.
Oh.
Uh, there's some things in law enforcement you can't explain when you go to houses with alarms, and you know, especially museums. We had a museum in one of the towns I worked in. Always got called there when they got new items coming into the museum. It kind of like sets where, you know, there's unanswerable things out there, and cops can't really talk about them, because if we put that in a report, you're going to be sent off for a mental evaluation really, really quick. So you get good at writing reports of kind of going around what actually happened. But everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah. We actually hear, so my team, when we were investigating, when we had our team, one of our investigators was involved in the legal side of things. I'm not going to say what she does or anything like that. I don't want to, you know what I mean? But but she knew a lot of police officers, and we had a lot of investigations that involved officers, or officers that wanted to come with us. And as long as the people that had the house, you know, as long as they were okay with it, because they were amateurs, I guess, in the paranormal field, right? We still have, you know, we still got protocols and all of that stuff. But you know, as long as they were okay with it, and they knew that they were just there as, you know, not so much investigators, but more just, you know, watching, maybe slightly participating, stuff like that. But yeah, it was like, I totally get it. We actually had quite a few officers that we either investigated the homes of, and lawyers actually, and actually even one judge. Really, it was, so, you know, it's not that underground
No.
thing anymore, right?
And if you think about it, first responders, we're around death so much.
For sure.
It kind of like it begs a question of, every once in a while, are they affected by it? I think it's really funny getting into the field, because before I was just kind of doing it on my own. I didn't have any equipment. Luckily, I met Trevor down at Western Idaho Paranormal. They showed me how their equipment worked and what they did, and so it brought what I used to do to a whole new level. And reaching out through all the different communities, I'm not really that surprised. We have so many firefighters, law enforcement officers, nurses, people that actually see odd things or have been there during, you know, deaths and tragedies.
Are you a part of a team, or you mostly work on your own?
I mostly work on my own. My son comes with me at times, only because I'm in the mountains of Idaho. And so, like, I was going down, I was part of Western Idaho Paranormal for a while, but it was like a 4-hour drive to go to their events.
Okay. So part of Trevor's team.
Yeah, it got to the point where it's like, I just couldn't travel that much. And so I started trying to do more stuff locally. And I do a lot of helping different groups online. I mod a lot. I help people doing research. I help people doing like going over videos and audio to try to clean them up and stuff like that. So I'm trying to help more people since I'm kind of remote, and then kind of do my own thing at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry, I'm losing my voice. I had a really bad cold a few weeks ago, so I'm still kind of like every once in a while it will break. And I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
All right. I sound like a chronic smoker or something. But, so I want to talk about, one of the things that you had mentioned was Bigfoot. And so is this, I put Bigfoot enthusiast because I wasn't really sure how to like frame it. I was like, hmm.
So, being raised in Washington State, if you live there long enough in your woodsman, you're out. Like I was up in the Cascades where I could go up there for, a couple weeks and never see anybody.
Right. Yeah.
You'll hear stuff, you'll see prints. I've had rocks thrown, I've had trees knocked down, I've had stuff put over trailheads. Right now, now that I'm in Idaho, I found one print here in Idaho. That's it. I have
Wow.
not found
Okay.
anything else. But I am part with like a group that's banner with Richie B. He's over in Massachusetts. Great group, and they do a lot of Bigfoot stuff. And so I take my knowledge from Washington State and from law enforcement, try to help them with like research when they're having different glyphs or that kind of thing. There's a couple of us that dive down and try to figure out if they're runic glyphs or if they're orgram or what have you. So yeah, there's a lot of groups I've been talking to and been helping, and it's fun. It's great bunch of guys.
So okay, I want to get it because Bigfoot kind of fascinates me. I'm one of those people, I don't know how much of a fascination I have where I would go into the woods. You know what I mean? Just because I'm kind of lazy too, quite honestly. You know? But cryptids really fascinate me, I guess, in general, right? So have you ever encountered, you said you had things thrown at you, but have you encountered one? I don't mean like, maybe like face to face or anything like that, but anything that kind of, I guess, put you into that place of like, oh hell, what's going on?
Definitely. More than once. I've had like rocks thrown like in front of me to say turn around. I was camping and we kept on hearing something, turn around, and I saw two eyes about 8 feet off the ground. And just like, oh, hi, how you doing? There's been a lot of that. I've heard vocals. So there is a lot there. I haven't seen him like full on daylight. So you can say, yep, I saw a Bigfoot. I have never done that. But I've been around them enough to where I know like the smell. I found like tracks where they kneel down drinking out of a creek. A lot of stuff.
We had we said Washington State. We actually had somebody on here. Oh, I think it was last year sometime. And he's from the military. And, interesting enough, he said that they actually had a few encounters in that area as well. And I guess at one point he was actually with like one of his commanders. And they were like, okay, let's just keep this quiet, like, shh, let's not talk about this.
Even in the brochure for Fort Lewis, that actually has it on there. Like, beware of him. Don't mess with him. It actually has a little picture of a Bigfoot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So where I was at was Lake Chelan. So at the very head of Lake Chelan is called a little town called Stehekin. There's no roads going to it. You either have to take a boat. It's a 55-mile long lake to get to it, or you have to plane in. Between that and a spot called Glacier Peak, it's an old volcano. That area was kind of Devil's Backbone. That was kind of my area a lot of times because that's why I did all the search and rescue. That's why I did all my normal camping. I would go out for like a month at a time.
Wow.
You cannot go out there and really get in the backcountry without hearing something or seeing something. Even as a search and rescue guy, when we go out and there would be like something was coming at us or throwing stuff at us, we would pull them out, get them back to a base camp. And I always kept cans of beans and pears because that's what my grandfather told me to do.
Yeah.
I would open them, take them out about 100 yards, put them on a log. Next day, I would go out there. They would be cleaned out totally, and
Really?
the hands would be just sitting there. It was more
Wow.
of a offering of like, I'm sorry they made you mad. We got them now.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, is like you said, if they're still sitting there, I mean, it'd be really hard for an animal to lick them out and not dump it over. Right.
Right. There's no animal that's not going to do that without leaving teeth marks or cutting themselves on the lid or something like
Yeah.
that. Because you're
Or just
talking
having
about
it knocked like on the ground and whatever. Yeah. It would be pretty difficult to do that. Did you leave a spoon? I would have left a spoon.
nope. They'll use sticks. They'll use whatever they can.
Yeah.
So,
I would have naively left a spoon, just, not that they might know how to use it or anything like that. But let me ask you a question. What is your theory on Bigfoot? Like, what do you think they are?
so my theory on Bigfoot is different than a lot of the other cryptids.
Okay.
I think Bigfoot, that is historical in lore, has always been here, as far back as you want to go. Even in the Celtic era, they're called wild men. So, I mean, they've always been here. So I think that is a flesh and blood thing. I think there is some kind of spiritual kind of thing with them.
Right.
Just because I have been zapped by them where you get too close and next thing you know, you're just passed out. I mean, you get dizzy, headaches.
Right.
On that story, it was really kind of cool because I had a GPS on me and I was halfway up a mountain. I was about 7,500 feet on a mountain.
Wow.
And he growled at me once. I heard it and I heard him take off and I was like, well, I'm just going to go up there. Like, yeah, they're not going to do anything. I got about 7,500 feet. And next thing I know, I started like spinning, fell down. And next thing I know, I woke up all the way on the bottom of the mountain on the road. It was just off the road.
Whoa. Yeah.
And trying to
And
figure
you're
out.
not rolling down 7,500 feet.
No. And the funny part is I actually got back to my truck, get back to my campsite. And I was like, I have a GPS. And I pulled up my GPS and whatever took me straight down the mountain through the bushes that we have. Bushes that are about like 4 to 6 feet tall. And it went through. I could not walk that. It took me straight down. So yeah, there's things I don't think that anybody can poo-poo away when it comes to Bigfoot. Other cryptids, I have a different theory on those. Like Mothman.
What is your theory?
So when you get to like Mothman, Dogman, a lot of those,
that kind of stuff.
that's a good example. They blow up and they're really popular for a while, and then a new one blows up, and then you don't hear about them for a while.
Yeah.
Fae will actually, when you see them, they can actually figure out what you're most scared of. And normally it's whatever's popular at the time. They pop it in your head and like got you. And so they take that form to scare you off. So my theory is most cryptid sightings are not actually cryptid sightings. They're dealing with some kind of fae that's trying to scare them away from the area.
That's a really good theory. I actually really like that theory because, so being like having abilities, I know for myself when I go into, if I just go for a walk and when I say the woods, I'm not going into like some deep, like camping woods or anything like that. We actually have a little area here called Elk Island where it's literally just a lot of bushes, a lot of hiking trails, etc. Some buffalo, something like that. And I like to go there and, you see things. Well, I mean, I see things, in the forest, right? And for me, I feel very calm knowing that they're there. I don't feel scared at all. But I actually never even thought about that, like with cryptids. I think that's an amazing theory. And I agree with you in the fact that Bigfoot and other cryptids are separate. Like Bigfoot seems to have intelligence. This is an intelligent being, right? Whereas cryptids, they seem to from except maybe Mothman, I don't know, but a lot of them seem to run on instinct more so than actual intelligence, right? Like, again, if you look at the
Right.
chupacabra, this is something that would just react from an instinct, or
And a lot of the sightings, if you think about it, for most cryptids, it's not an encounter like Bigfoot encounters. Most of them, they see him, and the Bigfoot's kind of going, "Oh yeah," and just kind of moves away, unless you have ticked it off, and then you have rocks and boulders and stuff like that. Most cryptid sightings are more like horror movie scary things. They're doing
yeah,
the rawr, you know.
yeah,
And so if you look back in the lore, a lot of the Fae actually did that to scare people out of their area. Even mines, they used to do that, taking on shapes of beings in mines to scare people out of mines.
for
So
sure. And even what you were saying though in regards to Bigfoot, like having maybe possibly that ability to sort of knock you out a little bit or make you a little fuzzy or dizzy, or I mean, quite honestly, if you're a being that's been around, and has developed, like they're not they've developed in other ways and other senses. So, it's not something like their minds are polluted with like TV or it's not like even before TV or even before all of, the electronics or nonsense radio, all of that, even before all of that, I mean, we were still more interactively social, gossip,
one,
all of that stuff, right?
if you
So,
think about, the Bigfoot was always mentioned as a guardian or protector of the woods
yeah,
and of man. So unless you did something to really offend it, they were always there to protect. And that kind of, there's only a couple areas, because they're kind of, in my opinion, like us. There's good ones, there's bad ones. There's different, tribes
of
kind of
course.
thing. But
Yeah.
for the most part, they're like that. Now, if you go into, like, I have been close enough, I have heard it call several times. When you're even a mile away, you feel it in your chest. When they're close to you, like 50 yards out, it's like shockwaves. It's like standing in front of a lion when he roars. That ultrasonic vibration thing, it goes right through you. I mean, it's a weird, it's hard to explain, but if you were ever stood in front of like a big bass from a stereo and you
Right.
feel it
Yeah.
inside,
Yeah.
it's like that, but more, because it's just weird. But if they can do that, like tigers and many other animals we know, the what we call zapped is kind of that method of, if you get ultrasonic so low, it does,
Mhm.
some people, it can make them pass out, other people it makes them dizzy, disorientated, whatever. So scientifically, it kind of makes sense of what they can
Well,
do.
even if you look at whales, dolphins, this is how
Mhm.
they communicate, is through sonic waves, right? Or how, whatever it is. I'm probably saying that wrong, but you get the idea. Like a lot of them do communicate through means that are more than just noise.
Oh, definitely. And I think I work with a super sweet lady. She's called Elder Medicine Bearclaw, and she's from the Blackfoot tribe. And they believe that they do a lot of sign language too, so they don't always have to use vocals.
Right.
Uh, and like Richie has got some crazy vocals. It's stuff that he's found, and then doing help working with the native tribes of how they actually use their hands to talk. It kind of helps researchers if they get in that situation where they think is it threatening to me, to be able to kind of do a sign, and we always say, is like, if you don't know anything else, is like, just put your fist to your heart and go like that, put both hands up and back up. You're telling them,
Mine
is
would
like,
be like this. Please don't hurt me. That would be mine. Please don't hurt me, Mr. Sasquatch. We do have a question. Martin Stewart has asked, do you think there are more individual Bigfoot than there is packs and families?
uh there are some that roam, but most of the time they're in clans. So they are in kind of like units, but they do wander greatly between those units. They come back and forth between each other. Why normally, if you hear like the big report in Washington State when the hunters got attacked at the cabin. They were dealing with one, and by that nightfall, they had like 5 or 6 around them throwing rocks at the cabin, and because they were shooting at the one Bigfoot. Wow. So they brought that on themselves. But yeah, most of the time I think you might only see one, but in a short area, they run in clans, either like as small as maybe 3 or 4 up to maybe like 8.
Right. Okay. Kind of like a normal family.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess to some degree, maybe a little extended, but grandma, grandpa, maybe a couple of kids, mom, dad.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of. So I want to talk about let's talk about like investigating and stuff like that. We like to ask this question of everybody. Okay, so and you watch the show enough to know what would be, I guess, the encounter that really made you kind of go, holy shit. I like to know, what was your holy shit moment, or that time or whatever it was that really made you go, I'm really seeing this. This is really happening. Like, holy crap.
That's hard. Definitely when I was law enforcement and I pulled my gun on the spectral, that's a good one. It was a house alarm went off and I was going to it. My buddy said, hold up, let me catch up to you. So you're not going there alone. The property used to be a Indian cemetery and they moved all the bodies for backstory. But we got there, it just snowed. So there was no prints going up the driveway. There's no prints around the house. I went around the right. He went around the left. I came around the back of the house and I turned around and I have this tall gentleman with a cowboy hat, like a really disheveled cowboy hat and a duster. He looked like he was an old Western dude. In our area, that's not uncommon for somebody dressed like that.
Was he a shadow?
He was full on color. He was not a shadow. Okay. He looked like a person. And so as soon as my light actually hit him, my light stopped. Like it stopped the light. I was like, whoa, I went to draw. I was like, show me your hands. And I pulled up my gun. And about the time I did that, I looked down. I noticed he didn't have any feet. Right at the bottom, it was just mist. So his coat went down and it just turned into mist. I was like, oh crap, show me your hands. And about that time, my buddy came around the other side of the building. He put his flashlight up. His flashlight went through the guy. The guy disappeared. And next thing you know, I'm pointing my gun at my buddy.
Oh my God.
We looked all over the place. No footprints, no nothing. It's like, it's something that you tell somebody that and they're like, really? I was like, yeah, really. That'll make you really sit down and think for a minute. Cause it wasn't, I have seen shadows. I've seen, the shadow people, if you will.
Yeah.
I've seen things that look like spirits, but they're like ghostly looking. Like you can see through them, like what is that? And it kind of goes away. This was not that. This was like me looking at you. That one I think was the biggest, the strangest. And I've never seen anything that solid ever since.
This is a question I've got. There are people like, I've had a lot of experiences, outside of investigating. I've had, one of our co-hosts, Peter Wren, he's had tons of like full on apparition, sort of things. Sounds like you do, definitely. What do you think? And these aren't always on investigations. Like these are, just random times. Like, what do you think? Like, why do you think it is that some people have these experiences and then other ones are like, I've never seen anything in my whole life. I would like to have a paranormal experience. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But then there's people that are like, I'm not going to say you and I, because I think you definitely have probably had more paranormal, let's just say like apparition and that sort of, experience than I have. But, I've had my share, I guess that's the best way to say it. But, Yeah. What do you think? Why do you think this is?
Well, I think part of it is uh, if you don't believe in hummingbirds and you see one fly by you real quick, you're going to say something was there. You're not going to call it a hummingbird. So there is a level of, if you accept it might be there, you'll have more chances of actually picking it out when it happens, because you'll have an idea of like, hey, that could have been this. Then you can try to debunk it. Uh, that also saying, I like to tell people, it's like winning the lottery 3 times in a row. If you see something like that,
Right.
that you are hitting a lottery. Like, again, it's like I've looked into this stuff, since I was a kid, and I've seen something like that one time, and I'm at mid-50s now. It's not, if somebody comes up and tells me they've seen 10 like full-on apparitions, like solid color, I'll be like, you got a demon in you, because that's not normal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is that being open to it, and then it also depends if, not only if you're open to it, but if you're engaged into it. Like, my religion is like, I actually go out and try to talk to spirits. I try to talk to fae. I try to talk to nature elements. That's part of where I'm at. So I have more opportunity to actually get EVPs or something like that, because I do actually talk to them a lot. Like, I've had EVPs in this room multiple times where we're watching my videos and you can hear them knocking and banging. Usually it's this quiet.
I've had that here, like when I'm doing
Yep.
my show, and people will say, "Oh, Kathy, there's something coming from your room." And I'm like, "Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like, we know that there's stuff going on in my house.
And I think it's
it is
like,
what it is."
I jokingly call the guys in my house my spirit army, because I do get along with them. I talk to them a lot, or at least off and on, and they'll let me know if something is trying to get in the house that's not supposed to be there. They help. I actually have an EVP. I was sitting here testing my recording equipment, and there was EVPs of the guys here kicking somebody out of my house. Like, you can hear
Oh.
him say, get him. I'm like, what am I hearing right now? And then you could hear them like off the distance, like they were outside, and you could hear one person go, my name is okay, he's still inside.
Wow.
I'm going like, yeah, these guys, they're watching out. Like, so if you get to, that comfortable with stuff around you, again, you never take anything for granted of who they say they are, mind you. But once you get close or easy enough to be able to communicate with them, not, automatically think everything is evil, you can actually have more experiences, if you will,
Yeah.
than anybody else. And it's just because we're out there doing it. We're not doing
It's
it in
interesting.
a way of like, I'm scared of you. We're doing it as like, I know you're probably just a dude that just having a hard time talking to me.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because here we don't get a lot of experiences anymore, so much as the only times, occasionally, like I said, sometimes we'll get an EVP coming through, when we're doing a show or something like that. But I know it's interesting because whatever here is here. I'm not one of those people. I really don't really want to tap into it. I'm just kind of letting it be. It's doing its thing. I'm not too overly focused on it, but I know that it's not human. But at the same time, I really feel like it's protective, but not so much of my family. It's more protective of the house. I guess I'm not exactly sure how to explain that. I think we're a part of the house, and it's protective of the entirety. I guess I don't know if that's a
And
word of the home.
that's the part where people don't understand too, is like, they think they have a ghost or a spirit in their home.
Right. Yeah.
It's only doing certain things, and it's like, well, that's probably not a spirit or a ghost, then that could be fae. And they're like, well, no, it's in my house. I'm like, there's several fae that go into your house.
and
Usually they're
yeah.
very easy. I mean, they're happy-go-lucky unless you tick them off.
And I feel like it's just here kind of protecting and watching. Like, there's been so many times, and it's interesting. There's been a couple of, well, I remember I had just gotten a dog, and we'd had it for probably a few weeks, and I remember it used to sit at the bottom of the stairs and look up and growl. I was like, Oh, that's fun. I remember one time I came upstairs and both of the dogs were sitting outside, actually the room I'm in right now, and they were both by the threshold, I guess, of the room, and they're both like sitting there kind of just watching inside of the room. Like, there's nothing to look at, and it's just a bedroom, more or less. But yeah, it was so interesting. But we used to have people say all the time, like,
Dogs are great for that.
oh yeah, 100%.
I have two. I used to have five at one time, but they got used to who's here. So like I would be here in my chair, and all of a sudden I hear them get up and I look over, and all of them would be looking in that room at the same
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
And they'll be just sitting there and like they'll walk around and like, okay, they're just like, what are you doing? But then every once in a while you would hear a noise and they would go over and look, and then they start growling. I'm like, okay, that's something that's not supposed to be here because they don't know them. It's like having your cousins come over and the dogs are fine. Then a cousin's friend comes over. They're like, well, who are you?
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, who are you? You don't smell the same as this person, or
Right.
you're a whole different scent going on. Yeah, you want to hear something funny though? This happened when I was having my son. So I was pregnant with my son, and his father's kind of like a lazy ass, whatever. He's not in our lives, hasn't been. But anyway, it was funny because when you walked in my door, I used to have like a coat rack, and it was full of coats, and whatever, and it used to fall over all the time, right? And so because I always used to load it up with like 800 different things that I shouldn't have, and it would just fall over. So I was used to that. And I remember this one time, he was laying on the couch, like doing his normal, like absolutely, nothing to help out. So I was carrying a load of laundry up the stairs. I had like two great big, laundry baskets, one on top of the other, and I could feel something fly behind me like this, and I heard it hit the wall, and I just kind of went up. I didn't even turn around because I couldn't really. I had so much laundry, like I had these great big baskets. I couldn't even look behind me. So for me, I just automatically assumed it was this coat rack that fell over. And I never thought anything of it. So I went and put all the laundry away. And then as I'm walking down, I'm like, oh, I got to put these coats away. You're kind of like, oh, whatever. So I go and look, the coat rack's perfectly fine. But what it was a smoke alarm. With that, those like Walmart cheapo smoke alarms that you get for like $12.99, and it was split open. But the funny thing is that it had actually been on the wall, and the distance that it flew was probably a good 10 feet across the room, and it flew right behind my head, not to hit me, but it was almost like I keep wanting to say it was like a warning. If it wanted to hit me, it could have hit me. But I think it was like a warning, like, get rid of this idiot. You know what I mean?
Pretty much, yeah. They do stuff like that. They really do.
Yeah, like because he used to say, I feel like I'm going to fall down the stairs. He goes, every time I come down the stairs, I always feel like I'm going to be pushed. And I was like, okay, well, whatever.
They did not like him whatsoever. That's like when I did this room, my black hat right there. When I put that up, they kept on turning that hat sideways. Like I'd come in and the hat would just be turned.
Yeah, yeah.
It kept on happening. I'm like, finally I was like, guys, because they know that's my nice hat. I'm like, leave my hat alone. It hasn't moved since. They were just making a point of like, I'm here.
Yeah, like they're letting you know.
I
really feel like after that, I felt 100% like something was like there protecting me. You know what I mean? And, because like I said, it could have hit me. Benno says ours are hardwired. Actually, I have a hardwired one in my house, like, hooked up to the electrical. But this is, but it's only on one floor. We don't have them all over the floor. So I had to get we have the other, like just the random ones that you buy or whatever. So, but yeah, stuff like that used to happen like all the time. And
we had an interesting one. Of course, I'm married, been married for 25 years. Being married that long, you're going to get in fights every once in a while. So we were in the front room and we were having a pretty heavy discussion. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, on the other side of the house is our fireplace. Yeah. And I had a little hatchet just propped up on the windowsill so it's angled like that. on the window. Next thing we know, we hear something. It sounds like glass breaking. And I'm like, what is that? I go over. The hatchet didn't just fall. It got knocked over like 3 feet and landed on the tile.
Oh my God.
It just jetted off. I'm like, oh, somebody's telling us, knock it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like,
They're
okay,
sick of listening to it.
pretty much.
You know, but one of the things that I always say, this is interesting. One of the things that I always tell clients is, I love you, honey. One of the things I always tell clients is that we always have to remember that our house is only four walls, right? So it's kind of like when people are fighting in their rooms, for instance, especially with couples, because they always seem to go into the bedroom for whatever reason, probably hide from the kids or whatever it is. But we're putting that energy into that room. And so, this is usually where, issues or fights usually, tend to start. But then basically, what we're doing is we're just sparking them, right? And creating, something that could turn bigger for sure. But, so probably, but that's kind of funny. Like something was definitely saying to you, cut it out. Like enough is enough.
Oh yeah. It's like, when people talk about, I know I have relatives that visit for a short time and then go away. Like I've been where I'm upset at my wife and I can smell my great grandmother's perfume. And I'm like, okay, she's telling me knock it off, get over it, move on.
They're on her side.
Yeah. If I'm procrastinating something, like I need to go out and get my work done on the farm, I'll start smelling my grandfather's cologne. Yeah. And he was a workhorse. And basically he's letting me know, I was like, get your butt out there and get your stuff done.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
For sure. Well, it is. But, I think you brought up a really good point, or you brought up a really good point earlier, is that a lot of people get really scared of things like this. And instead of embracing it and going, we're just living with the dead, really, in some aspects. And once
that's
we
assimilate
that, it makes things so much easier.
I've talked to so many people where they're like, I saw a shadow person in my house and I'm so scared. I'm like, you realize that just means that spirit got enough power because it was probably trying to contact you or let you know something that you actually saw the energy coming off it. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means something was there. It's like, look into it. Has anything bad happened? Have you had like something trying to nudge along to get better or get out of a funk or, what have you? Most people jump to the gun of something is evil and bad just because they don't understand it and they don't want to look into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's easier just to jump to that conclusion rather than, or, sometimes too, is that when, people, come and visit us, it's not so much that they, have unfinished business, but the person that's alive might view it as that, and they're actually scared to confront it, right? And just be in this place of like, whatever, maybe there's things that I've got to confront within myself.
Exactly. There's a lot of reasons. And sometimes they just want to come checking on you. It's like, how's the family doing? I've had, I know my great grandmother and grandfathers have come by. I know my uncle has been here. I got him on EVP, which was an amazing session. But yeah, it's a lot of I don't want to say ignorance, because a lot of people, when they're ignorant, they just get mad at something because they don't understand it. So they blame it on something else. Because a lot of people aren't ignorant to it, but they're too scared to learn about it or too scared to even try to identify it.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem where, like, up here, I was trying to go into a couple super historical spots up here, and the company was saying, yeah, come. We have employees asking why. So we want answers. I'm like, great. But because a couple of churches up here and a couple of the leaders said, no, that's like satanic. You're going to be like summoning demons. I'm like, I go out with a camcorder and a recorder. I mean, it's like I take videos and record stuff. That's all I do. It's kind of like, You probably do that on every like holiday with your family.
Right? Exactly. So speaking of EVPs, you actually have some. Do you want to share a couple with us?
Sure. Here's one.
So okay, so set this up for us.
So this was actually taken after I did a write. So a nice family contacted me because they've seen me in a lot of the podcasts and chat rooms and stuff, and they knew I was a druid, and they're like, druids are supposed to be able to deal with elementals, and I don't know what we're dealing with. People are saying we have demons and we have dragons, and they showed me a couple photos of these odd things out in the distance, and they started telling me, I'm like, no, that sounds like an elemental. You tick something off. I'm like, I can tell real quick. I'll go out. If it is one, I'll get it off you, and I'll tell you how to solve your issue. Because literally, it's saying I'm sorry is normally what you have to do. I did my full right, and when I was picking everything up, something growled at me. Now, when I called this thing to me, at first he didn't want to come. He knocked my camera over. He made a couple odd noises, made me feel like I was going to throw up. So
Oh, no.
I called some of my guys here to say, help me. I need help.
Yeah.
So at the very end of it, this is him saying, okay, I told him, like, you're going to come live with me for a little while. You're welcome to my house, but you have to be nice. He says, I will come to your house. The other thing that says, okay, I believe, is the ones I actually had helping me.
Okay. Okay. Can we hear it again? Wow. That's a really good EVP too, hey? Like
It's a decent one.
Oh yeah.
And then we have this one. It's just a name, Sarah. So I got this in my barn. The interesting thing was this is just after I went down to Trevor at the TB hospital.
Yeah, yeah.
I have never got this name on my property at all. When after I came back from there is a spirit they call Sarah down there. I came out, my first investigation, and I get this. I'm like, are you saying you know Sarah, or, you know, or did she follow me back up here? I haven't heard the name since, so I don't know why I got the name.
Yeah, so and it could have been just like somebody following, like somebody that came back with you, maybe, like even if it was just temporary kind of thing.
It's possible. Usually I can feel it if like you get an energy, like there's something wrong. Like when you get ready to leave. I've had that a couple of times where it's you're tired, but you have kind of like the back of your head, like the hairs just kind of feel like, yeah, something's not right, you know? And then usually I'm like, nope, you're staying here, buddy. You're not coming with me.
We're supposed to go to the TB hospital. I think it's in April. I think we're supposed to come down to Idaho.
You're gonna love it. Bring good recorders because that thing is crazy for EVPs.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. It'll definitely be one for the books for sure. Yeah.
Well, hopefully I can come down there so I can meet you in person.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I just want to ask, this is another thing we like to ask people too. How is your family with all of the paranormal and stuff like that? Like when you first brought it up or talked about it, or how did that? How was the reception on that? Do you have kids?
Yes. So one's 22, one's 25.
Okay.
They were brought up in it from day one.
Yeah.
So they knew when I said, you can't come over here, Daddy's doing something. They knew, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That also helped them when, bumps in the night or what have you. Mm-hmm. My son is, he's more interested because he's like me. He can hear things more than most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's always been into it a little more. My daughter, not so much. She'll listen to us, but she's not interested. Right. My wife, she was into it for a little while, and then she's like, she had a really she was in it because she had a bad experience because her mother was in Spain and was dealing with some of the witchcraft over there.
Oh no. Yeah.
And so, you know, when over there, they're very high and doing
Oh yeah.
stuff.
Curses and the whole bit and all kinds of
So they
stuff.
had a problem with their family for a long time, something following them. So when I got with her, she was like night terrors about four times a week. I mean, she'd wake up just screaming. It was the same guy over and over again. And then I figured out what was going on. And so I actually helped her and remove that so it wasn't following the bloodline anymore, because she also has a brother that has kids. So after that, that's when she was like, I'm not messing with this stuff anymore. I don't care if you do, just don't do it next to me. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
I can respect that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's at least they're supportive, so that's good. My son's the same way. You know, he's very intuitive, very, very more. He probably still is, but you know, he's in university, so he's got other shit going on. You know, but very much so. You know, when he was younger, very, very used to see stuff all the time, and you know, there was this one time when he was in kindergarten and he stopped wanting to play on the in the playground at recess time. And you know, we were like, what is going on with you? Like, you know, because he would just stay right by the teacher, he wouldn't leave her side. And he says, because the boy's over there and he's got a needle and I'm scared of him. And of course we're like, what the hell are you talking about, right? Although I had already seen a lot of his, you know, stuff, like he had already been very accurate in a lot of things before this, right? So I was pretty open to it. But you know, and his teacher actually had come to me and said, you know, have you ever heard about indigo children? And I said, yeah. And she goes, your son is like the strongest indigo child that I've ever taught. And so she was very open with believing a lot of the things that he said also, right? Like she was very open with it. But when he said this, yeah, it was amazing, like to be able to have that, you know, type of support, right? Not only as a child, but definitely as a parent, because people usually think that you're crazy when you're telling, you know, people that your kid is seeing shit in the middle of the night and, you know, seeing spirits walk through your house and crap like this, right? So, but she, you know, so both of us were like, well, you know, what are you talking about? And, you know, and we just sort of let it be to some degree and let him hang out with the teacher. And then a couple weeks later, he says, I don't need to, he goes, I can play on the playground now. He goes, the little boy told me, he came to me and he said that he's not going to hurt me. So I'm not scared of him anymore. Well, little did I know that the teacher actually had done some research, and there was a little boy that had passed away from an overdose. Well, not a little boy, he was like 16, and he did pass away probably about 12 years before that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, what my son was seeing was very accurate with what had actually happened in that area. On that, it was right by the slides too, which was like so bizarre, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think that our kids, when we're in something like this, or when we, you know, I think it to some degree, following the paranormal or researching the paranormal or being interested in the paranormal, I think to some degree it's a calling. You know what I mean? There are particular people that are definitely called to it for a reason, you know, and whether it's to, you know, whether it's a skeptic or whether it's an intuitive or whether somebody is just, you
I
know,
so agree.
fascinated with it. Yeah, I feel like it's a calling, you know, and our kids really seem to expand from it as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's not talked about enough, and this also goes along with pets. You have to protect. If you're into this field, you have to actually protect your pets. Understand what they're doing. If they're letting you know something's there, back them up. Go out and like, you're out of here, dude.
100%. Yeah.
Your kids are the same way. It's like I showed my kids is like, this is our little tiny steps that you can take. Just if you're scared, do this. It'll protect you, and then yell at me, you know. My daughter is very, very into Christianity. She goes to church every week. And it's like, if grab your Bible, read a verse.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And so I've done that with them. And like a good example is like my son came to me one morning and he was like, Dad, I got to talk to you. I'm like, what? He goes, there's something that keeps walking down the hall and it's knocking on my door. And then sometimes it's like a finger tap or a scratch. I'm like, on your door. And he's like, yeah. He goes, it sounds like it's coming down the hallway from the extra bedroom. I'm like, okay. He was like, does that happen a lot? He's like, it's been happening. I'm like, okay. I was like, don't worry, buddy. Do what I told you to do. I'll make sure you're good. And so everybody went to bed. I waited until my wife went to sleep. I got up, got dressed, went out and sat in the hallway. And then sure as crap, around 2:00 in the morning, I heard footsteps starting to come out of the bedroom. And I just stood up and I stood him off and was like, you are no longer allowed here. Like we had to come to Jesus moment and he didn't have no problems after that. But the next morning I went to him. I was like, buddy, did you have that last night? And he was like, no, I didn't. I slept, didn't get woke up, nothing. I'm like, see, I told you what you did protected you. Now I gave him the strength of his belief of what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's building that, with the kids. It's like, you got to build that they know they can actually defend themselves on stuff like this.
Absolutely. And just having the belief in them. But, I always say too, is like, have faith in something. Just have whatever you have faith in, whether it's God, universe, spirit, yourself, whatever you want to call it, just have faith in it, because that actually is our hugest protection. And when we do call upon what it is that we have faith in, we are so loved, so protected. And
there's power in that. If you,
there's 100% power in that.
If you believe in it and you trust it to your soul, when you say it, there's power behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. There is. Before we go, I just want to show people your YouTube channel so that people can follow you there. And so it's, I always forget that people can't see when I just click on something. I have to actually share my screen. So just a second.
So I just went to the state park here about a week ago. I got one video out of the first investigation on a shop, old cabin, and then a spot where they disperse ashes for loved ones. And then I just released last night the video we have on what we're calling the Fae Forest. It's a campground. The reported Fae there. And that turned out to be crazy. And then I have a part 3 coming out here probably next week. We went back to the shop and spent another couple hours there.
I just subscribed. You saw it live. That's awesome. Yeah. This. Oh, okay. So I see where it says here, State Park High Pitch.
Yeah. So that little weird hut looking thing was actually built at the ferry area we went to. The interesting part was 10 days ago, my son actually works there. They went in and cleaned that whole area up and it wasn't there. So within 9 days, this hut was built.
I'm just gonna press on this video here. It says State Park High Pitch. Shush.
Oh.
See if we can.
Oh, look at all the steels. Oh, the steel St. Jaws. I got a boner right now.
As you should.
Now what's kicking off?
Wow. So you guys didn't hear this?
No. So I was a little vulgar and something shushed us.
It's telling you to behave yourself.
Pretty much.
There's sensitive ears in this here cabin. It's funny. Sparky, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Thanks for, and again, just supporting us too, supporting our channel. We truly appreciate having you. I hope
great
to have
videos,
you
and thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. And thanks to everybody who's watching. We truly appreciate you. Make sure that you subscribed. Make sure you, share our video, click, whatever. All of it is wonderful for us. So thanks again. Take care, everyone. And Sparky, we hope to have you on again. So take care, everyone. Thank you.